What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Akalon here, and welcome back to each one of them. Of course, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us. I am very happy to have you. It is, of course, the 4th of August, just so that you know when you're watching this video, what and when all of this transpired. Things at Blizzard have gone from bad to worse. I have told you from the beginning that I would not be covering this story for clout or for clicks, and I would only cover it when something big enough happened. Now, the truth is that not one thing that was big enough really happened, except for J. Allen Brack leaving the company, which one could argue was, at least to some extent, big enough. But around this, yesterday just seemed like the time where so many people was announcing that they're leaving the company. So many things happen around the lawsuit. More lawsuits are now being added to the company that I thought I'd quickly give you guys a rundown, give you my thoughts on this entire situation. Although before we do that, this video is brought to you by, well, us. Patreon. If you want to get behind the scenes exclusive access to content that you will never see on the rest of the channel, if you want to get the podcast every single week, or you just want to get early access to all of the videos, then click the link in the description down below and consider becoming a patron today. I really do believe that it is worth the charge. And then, of course, if you want to join us live, literally right after I've made this video, I will be going live over on Twitch. The link to that is in the description down below as well. And with that said, let's jump into the video. So to start off, we have to get to Bobby Kotick's opening speech yesterday during the earnings call. And I believe this is important because it highlights one of the main things that is happening right now. And I know most people don't want to hear this, but this might actually be the most important thing that's happening right now. Activision Blizzard is being sued by their own shareholders. This is the second suit that has now been filed. The first one was filed a couple of years ago, mainly down to or surrounding Bobby Kotick's, let's call them bonuses, even though it's more than what a bonus could effectively be called, right? But yeah, they just said that, no, Activision Blizzard seems like it exists only to pay Bobby Kotick incredible amounts of money. And the shareholders had a problem with that. They did not agree with that at all. So they sued him. Now you have a new group of shareholders that is suing Activision Blizzard, this time for negligence of their fiduciary responsibility. Now, there are 3 rules or duties under fiduciary responsibility. You have the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of obedience. And basically what all of this boils down to is you have a duty to ensure that your shareholders make money. If your actions, or inaction in this case, in any way, shape, or form contributes to them losing money, and they can prove that your actions, direct or inaction, directly contributed to them losing money, then you could be held liable for all of the money that they had lost. In this case, it would be billions that Activision Blizzard would have to pay to their shareholders, if not more than that, right? So Activision Blizzard could effectively be sunk by this lawsuit if the shareholders wanted to take it that far. But okay, on to his opening statement. Please remember that everything in an earnings call isn't meant for you, right? Nothing in this entire earnings call is meant for you, the player. It's meant for the shareholders. That's it. I'll quickly read you a short snippet of it, and I'll have a link in the description down below to the full opening statement if you want to go read through it, but it basically reads very PR-like, right? I want to start by making clear to everyone that there is no place at our company where discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment of any kind will be tolerated. Of course, that means up until this point, because just 2 weeks ago, it was still very much tolerated, but now it will no longer be tolerated. That makes that, yes, okay. Nowhere, we so appreciate the current and former employees who have come forward in the past and recent days with courage. I want to reiterate the commitments we have made to you. Our work environment, everywhere we operate, will not permit discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment. We will be a company that sets the example for this in our industry, like every other fucking company. Because over the last few days, every gaming company have come forth and basically gone, we do not allow things like this to happen at our company, right? Everyone is the leader, the example in this industry, yet all of them are probably equally rotten because they're all AAA fucks. That's just how it is. Of course, this did very little, if anything, to sway the Activision Blizzard Workers Alliance, which is a new alliance that's been formed by the workers. So basically, like an in-house union, which is a kind of union that I actually agree with. I'm generally very skeptical of unions because they tend to be businesses that just want to make money and do not really care about the employees that they represent. But a workers' alliance like this, I can actually get behind, right? Now, they basically, again, I will have links to this in the description down below if you want to go through all of it, but they basically accuse the company of just not listening, just not meeting the demands that they have put out there. So I'll give you a quick excerpt from this. We communicated a list of 4 demands aimed at protecting our most vulnerable workers. These are: 1, an end to forced arbitration in employment agreements. Now, based on what my knowledge of the law is, this is not always. Forced arbitration is not always an anti-worker sentiment, even though a lot of people want to believe that it is. In a lot of cases, it's oftentimes to save the worker money. You see, because arbitration is very cheap and oftentimes is paid by the company that has to, defend themselves, right? So you, as the person who's going to arbitration against your company, will oftentimes not pay anything. And usually this is in companies' bylaws. It will be in the contract that you signed. Most companies, actually, that I know of that have forced arbitration are willing to cover the costs for the arbitration. The reason for this is court cases are very long, very expensive, and oftentimes completely impossible for people to actually do, right? A normal employee can't go to court. They can't afford to take you to court for 2-3 years. It's going to bankrupt them. And so forced arbitration is a very easy and effective way to get your demands met. I'm not saying it's always the case. I'm just saying a lot of the time it's not as evil as people want to think it is. Number 2, the adoption of inclusive recruitment and hiring practices. Now, according to the Workers Alliance, they believe, because Blizzard said that they have increased their diversity hiring applications in terms of how many applicants they get before they choose who is the person that they're going to employ. Now, according to the Workers Alliance, they reject this. They want equitable, inclusive recruitment and hiring practices, which I fundamentally disagree with on the face of it because it's a racist thing. I do not believe that you should hire people based on the color of their skin. I believe that you should hire the best person for the job. If that person happens to be purple, then hey, you've got the best person for the job, and he also happens to be purple. I don't care what anyone's race is. I don't agree with inclusive hiring processes if it does not lead to the best people getting the job, because I also think that it is extremely condescending to any person of any color if they were to learn that the only reason they have this job is because they fit some criteria that they were born as, something that they had no control over. I personally would quit my job if I found out that I was working at a company and the only reason I was working there was because I was white, right? I would quit my job. I wouldn't want to work there because it's insulting, it's condescending, it's fucking awful, right? I want to work there and I want to know that I got the job because I have the skill set required to do this job and I was the best person for the job. So I don't agree with inclusive recruitment and hiring practices. I do agree with the fact that you need a very diversified list of applicants before you make your decision. Now, I would go so far as to say that we need to remove names and race and gender from CVs. You should literally just have a CV with the person and everything that he's done, or he or she has done, and then just decide based on what you see there. You don't need to know what race or gender or anything the person is until such time that they get the job. That would be my suggestion to this entire thing. Increases in pay transparency through compensation metrics, and 4, an audit of ABK policies and practices to be performed by a neutral third party. Importantly, we demanded that this third party be selected by an employee-led diversity, equity, and inclusion task force. Just hitting all the buzzwords there, which is, effectively, this is fine. You can have the audit. I agree with the audit. I agree that WilmerHale is not the best company for this because oftentimes they actually specialize in quelling and squashing a lot of worker uprising, right? They're not actually there to save the company, if that makes any sense. But we have to move on. That's basically the Workers' Alliance basically gave Bobby Kotick the finger and said, no, fuck you. We don't like what you just said. This is what we want. This is the only thing that we're willing to take. Then, of course, we have J. Allen Brack stepping down. And that was originally what this video was going to be about. It was going to be about J. Allen Brack stepping down. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. This, as far as I'm concerned, they needed a fall guy. J. Allen Brack was the fall guy, right? It's also very clear they did not fire him. He stepped down, right? All of this is very PR. They had to make a move somehow, and I do believe that in the next few weeks, we'll probably learn that Ian Azagostas has lost his job as well, or he has stepped down as well, or maybe stepped aside as well. Heads must roll, right? And the sacrificial lambs in this case is J. Allen Brack. Do I think J. Allen Brack was completely innocent in all of this? No, he was not innocent. He's the leader. He should have put a stop to it. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these accusations predate him as the president of Blizzard Entertainment by some years, right? So, if anything, he inherited a burning boat, and he basically just, he was the captain of the sinking ship at the time, and now he's being thrown overboard as a result of this. Now, originally, when I found out that Jen O'Neill and Mike Ybarra was going to co-lead Blizzard Entertainment, my first thought was this is a PR move. This is to cater and to sort of virtue signal, maybe they wanted Mike Ybarra there as the leader for Blizzard Entertainment for some time, and they knew that it would look very bad right now if they just sort of had a man just become the new head of the studio, and so they decided to just do two. But as I started looking into it, I actually think this is an amazing deal. You see, Jen O'Neill have a lot of experience on some of the games in World of Warcraft, in Blizzard Entertainment, Overwatch and Diablo specifically. She used to be the studio head for Vicarious Visions, who did an amazing job on remaking, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. They're also now working on the remake for Diablo 2. So she does have the experience to do this. And based on her history, she's not been that involved in game development specifically, but she has been very much involved with people, right? So she does appear to be a sort of people specialist, if you will. Mike Ybarra, on the other hand, pure gaming guy, right? He plays World of Warcraft. He's an ardent Mythic Plus player, which does not bode well, because the last thing we need is more Mythic Plus in this game. We actually need some casual shit, but he is a hardcore World of Warcraft player, which might be good or bad depending on where you stand on what World of Warcraft is right now. For me, anyone that likes modern day World of Warcraft enough to really play it a lot should probably not be in charge of trying to save World of Warcraft because the modern day World of Warcraft is not good. But anyways, he is the co-lead for Blizzard Entertainment along with Jen O'Neill, and I actually think maybe this is a good thing. At first I thought, just a lot of PR, just a lot of hoo-ha to sort of show, oh, look, we're being equal in our hiring practices. But the more I started thinking about it, the more I started realizing there's 6,000 people that work for Blizzard Entertainment. That's a lot of people that you have to try and manage every single day. I do not think that one person can do that. I do not believe that it's possible for one person to be in charge of that many people and do it well. So maybe this is actually the best way. You have Jen, you have Mike, and together they can divvy up their responsibilities to ensure that the entire company is running smoothly, rather than having one guy that or one lady that juggling all of this and just do not know what's going on half the time because they're spread so thin over the company. Now, of course, Mike came from Xbox, and he's been with Xbox for years before he moved over to Blizzard Entertainment. He does seem to be more of a specialist when it comes to systems and things like that, like hardware systems, and also price offerings and things like that. He's the perfect guy for Bobby Kotick because he's dealt with a lot of budgets and reaching certain budget targets throughout the course of his career. Jen, on the other hand, like I said, she served as the board member on plenty of companies, including the Girl Scouts of New York. She was a board member for the Girl Scouts. So maybe she does have the people skills required in order to run this company. I don't know, right? But at the end of the day, it's getting worse and worse. Like I said, shareholders are suing Blizzard Entertainment, or Activision Blizzard, over these sexual harassment stuff. Then, of course, you have Activision Blizzard losing their biggest sponsor, their biggest non-gaming sponsor in T-Mobile. T-Mobile have pulled out somehow from Overwatch and Call of Duty esports leagues. This is done very hush-hush. They've not made a statement. Activision Blizzard have not made a statement. And the reason they probably haven't made a statement is they sort of don't want to be involved in all of this. They just quietly phoned up Bobby and said, hey, get our fucking posters off of your walls. We do not need this shit, right? So T-Mobile seemingly have pulled out. That's a big hit, right? Esports, it's not as if Activision Blizzard's esports departments are doing incredibly well to begin with. Then, of course, you have actually a little bit of good news here. Jeshi Meshok, I believe his name is. He is actually the head of global human resources at Blizzard Entertainment. He has left the company, and I think it makes sense. If you listen to some of the stories. So, for example, one of the stories here, another current employee with the company for over 5 years tells Axios that after she was physically assaulted by one employee, her report to HR was met with instant skepticism. One of the things the HR rep commented on was that she was surprised I wasn't crying or I wasn't more hysterical. Furthermore, the source says there were no measures put in place to protect her at work. Instead, Blizzard encouraged her to work from home or switch departments, a move she says felt more like punishment. And then, when she spoke to HR again, however, a representative told her he's really sorry and he really wants to work at Blizzard. And he says you were really friendly with him. So in other words, gaslighting, basically just sweeping it all under the rug. The HR department for Blizzard failed absolutely fucking miserably. So this makes sense to me. This is an absolute... I could not disagree with the fact that this guy is leaving. But I genuinely do not believe that this is the only guy that's leaving. Just to be clear. This is not the only person that's going to lose their jobs. I believe that there's going to be plenty more people that lose their jobs over the course of the next... let's just say month or so. Now, on to the final bit that I want to cover here. There's still a lot more that we could probably go into, but those things aren't really that important. The headlines, hopefully you feel now a little bit more informed about everything, but I did want to cover a short amount of time on the Blizzard monthly earnings call, right? The Activision Blizzard quarterly earnings call. A lot of people are reading this completely wrong. So Activision, once again, have lost subscribers or monthly active users. They have gone from 27 million in quarter one to 26 million now. Now this marks, right? This marks over the last, I believe, at least 4 quarters, but I might be wrong. The last time I did this, it was actually up to 7, but I think there's been a quarter since then that sort of ticked up. But I may actually be wrong, and it might be that over the last 3 years, the monthly active user base for Blizzard Entertainment have consistently gone down. 26 million is now the lowest that it's been at least since we've started covering the monthly active earnings call. And before people go, oh, so clearly they only lost 1 million players, make no mistake, these numbers do not include the recent exodus to Final Fantasy. You will not see those numbers in this quarterly earnings call. You will only see those numbers in the next one. Why? Because the monthly active users is taken as an aggregate. At least that's my understanding of it, talking to a shareholder in the company. This is an aggregate. So they look over the course of the last 3 months, what was the monthly active users in terms of average, and then that average is chosen, right? That number is chosen. Now, you had also Kotick that launched in this month. So in last month, actually, you had Kotick that launched, which means a lot of people came back for, you know, a 6-month sub, or maybe even just for a 1-month sub. A lot of people that returned to the company to play the game, and maybe they quit a week after. It doesn't matter. They're still counted as that last month's monthly active user score, right? So at the end of the day, we're only going to see the exodus from the Final Fantasy incursions or excursions, as well as this lawsuit, in the next quarter. I have a feeling that next quarter might be down 3, 4, 5 million, if not maybe more, right? Next quarter may crash entirely. And that would be absolutely astonishing. Now, throughout this, they also spoke about Diablo Immortal and how they're now thinking about maybe bringing Diablo Immortal to even more players. So I expect that you could probably see Diablo Immortal on PC and console most likely within this year, it will be announced that the game is being ported to console and PC. I don't know, maybe. But they do seem to want this game to really do well, because they're not doing well in every other area. The overall company, by the way, Activision themselves, are also down. They're down to 127 million monthly active users, down from 150 million in Q1. So that is a massive, massive loss to the company. Activision Blizzard is bleeding. They're bleeding quite heavily. And I do not believe that I don't think it's salvageable. And the reason I do not believe that it's salvageable, the reason I don't think that it's going to save anything, is it's down monthly active users, but it's up in terms of earnings. You see, but here's the good news. At some point, Activision Blizzard is going to run out of bodies to tap for blood. At some point, all of this is going to come crashing down. Now, we will have to wait and see. We will have to sit back, right? And wait, because who knows? Who knows at this point? All I know is things do not look good for Activision Blizzard. However, if you enjoyed this video and you think things look good on this channel, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that bell that notifies you whenever I put up brand new content. And then, of course, to all of the patrons, the Twitch subs, and the YouTube channel members, thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It does mean the world to me. Thanks to you, this channel is still growing and is growing stronger every single day. I quite literally wouldn't be here without you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Guys, my name is Activision, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, fam.